This is me. This is also me. You're probably wondering how I got myself into this situation. Hello, fellow procrastinators of the world. I am back. Shocking, I know. To those who don't know me, my name is Hannah. I am a painter/illustrator and I like uploading speed paints here on YouTube. But you guys can probably infer from the thumbnail and title of this video that this video is going to be about crafting, which is something I am not good at, so this is bound to be interesting. Disclaimer. I am no foamsmith, so if you, the person who's watching this video right now, are a cosplayer who's looking up tutorials on how to make their own weapons for cosplay, I suggest you look the other direction, because half the time I was working on mine, I didn't know what I was doing. All I had going for me was sheer audacity. Okay. Quick background of why I decided to do this project in the first place. So during my second to the last semester of art school, I enrolled in an After Effects class. And in order to pass the class, we needed to submit two things. Number one, an animatic which we animated ourselves because duh, art student. And if you guys haven't seen it yet, I uploaded it last January. It's about Moshang. You guys should probably check it out. I worked really hard on it. And number two, what was number two again? We needed to make a short film with some sort of visual effect in it. And now my philosophy in art school was creating art by itself is already pretty hard. So whenever I'm given free rein to do whatever the hell I want with an assignment, I made sure that I had a lot of fun with it. And that's why I decided that I wanted to be the Raiden Shogun. Oh my god, the Raiden Shogun.
It's the Raiden Shogun.
Just imagine she talked like that.
And it worked out quite well because just a couple of months prior to the film shoot, I already attended Hoyo Fest 2023 as the Raiden Shogun, and because I thought, well, I already had her costume, I was already halfway there. Now, Raiden by herself would have made for an interesting video, but I was feeling very extra and I wanted to do the electric zappy weapon thing that she has on her all the time. So I wanted to give her a weapon. And initially, I was going to buy both her polearm and sword online, but then I realized how broke I was. I mean, I'm still broke now. I guess some things don't change. But incidentally, I do have a lot of EVA foam left over from a class I previously took, which I used to make my own Mercy cosplay. And being the starving artist that I was, I figured I could save a lot of money if I just make the sword myself. And that's how I got into this mess. Thank you for listening to my yapathon. There's more where that came from. I first started, of course, by making a template of the design on Clip Studio Paint because I couldn't be bothered to do it properly on Adobe Illustrator. I am such a fake graphic designer, you guys. And then during my Intaglio printmaking class on campus, I snuck out. I left because I could. And then I went to the nearby print shop from my college to have my template printed, and if I'm not mistaken, it was around 120 centimeters long. When I first got the template, I panicked a bit because I thought I made it too long, but I measured it against my body while I was wearing heels, and it turns out making it that long was the right choice. But anyway, I then ran back to my class as if nothing happened.
Girl, paano to? Alam mo, hindi dapat ito pagkakatiwalaan sa vlog kasi nagbumukha siyang...
Kamasin ko siya.
Hala, ang cute niya!
God. These were my classmates. In that class, I miss them all so much. Also, they consented to showing their faces on this video, so it's fine. Intaglio printmaking class was fun. It was one of my favorite classes in art school. This happened on the afternoon of December 16, by the way, just to keep track. And I had to go home for the holidays a week after that. Did I mention that I crammed crafting this sword in 5 days? Because I crammed crafting this sword in 5 days. On the morning of December 17, I decided to commit theft by spiriting away a PVC pipe from my uncle's garage. I don't have the footage of it anymore, but I used a heat gun to flatten the PVC pipe, and then I sawed off bits and pieces of it so it would fit the template I made. And then that afternoon, I forced my cousin to accompany me to the hardware store so I could buy sandpaper and contact cement, and also some potato chips. which was very random, but this would be very important later. I'll tell you guys why in a bit. Don't worry, don't worry. And then the moment I got home, I started tracing my template onto some EVA foam. I think I used 10mm thick EVA foam, but honestly, who cares about that? This is not a tutorial. It's not like any one of you guys will be following along to this video, right? You're just here to watch me suffer. And then obviously I proceeded to cut out my pieces. Look at that knife action, so precise, so confident. That's what 4 years of art school does to a person. After that, I proceeded to glue the pieces together. Slathering contact cement all over my foam pieces was my favorite part of this entire process because it felt a lot like spreading forbidden jam over forbidden bread. But this is where I made my first mistake. Initially, my plan was to sandwich the PVC pipe in between 4 pieces of EVA foam with 2 layers on each side and then with the middle pieces being hollow so I could fit the pipe inside. But I found out that it was far too thick and I didn't like how that looked because I was making a sword, not a bat. Though I guess they would serve the same purpose, wouldn't they? Okay, first of all, I am probably not in focus. Well, it is what it is. So, I just got back from my uncle's place, and by my uncle I meant my dentist. That's right, my dentist is also my uncle. Last night, I got into a bit of a crafting coma, if you will, while my camera was charging. I've done quite a bit to the actual sword now. Now, the hilt is looking okay. It's looking sort of accurate to the reference photos. I just needed to round out some of the parts. Like with the hilt, you can see that I did that last night with my crafting knife, and that's why it's so messy in this room right now. But my problem with this right now is this part of the sword is too thick, and it's probably due to the thickness of the foam that I use to cover up the pipe. So right now, I'm thinking that maybe I ought to strip off everything from this part until the tip and then just hope that maybe 2 pieces of foam would be enough to sandwich the pipe and hide it properly. I'm just going to hope that I could seamlessly blend it to the hilt that I already sanded. But my mother did not raise a quitter, so I'll just do what I can and see how it goes. Because otherwise I would be lugging around this thick-ass sword. If it's claymore, it would probably work, but this is the Musou Isshin, and it would look better if the actual blade was as thin as possible. Let's just see how it goes. For now, I'm going to change out of my dress and I'll get back to work, so bye. I redid everything from the hilt down. I didn't want to, but it needed to be done. It's been a while since I did this, but I distinctly remember stripping the foam off the PVC pipe feeling like carving meat off a bone. Or maybe I was just hungry. And remember the chips I bought? I didn't eat those myself. I just needed the wrapper to shield my crafting mat from the glue I was using. I was using this local shoe glue that my professor told me about in cosplay elective class, and it works really nice. To try to minimize the thickness of the blade, I used 4mm foam to cover the pipe this time. To get some of the more 3D shapes done, I had to manually carve them out with my crafting knife, and then I just sanded the sword like 15,000 times. I don't have a rotary tool, so I did what I had to do. And to seal off any uneven edges, I just used foam clay. It was around this time when things got really spicy. I got a fever. And I had 4 days to finish the sword and film the footage for the class. I was in a dissociative crafting haze at this point, honestly. Normally, I would care more about how my work was looking like, but it's barely been 3 days into this crafting project and I was already over it. Also, look at how messy my crafting table has gotten. Jesus Christ. It wasn't a good time for me, okay? Both mentally and emotionally. I was really going through it. I was being fairly faithful to my template, but my template was in 2D, so for the details that go around the sword, I just put masking tape all over the sword, drew over the masking tape, cut that out, and used that as my pattern. And because I was an idiot who didn't care about my health, the moment I felt better, I went to my campus to watch the Lantern Parade the evening of December 20. I wanted so bad to go that year because that was my last Lantern Parade as an undergrad. Remember this part of the video? Oh, yeah, those people outside. Yeah, those were the fine arts freshmen and sophomores working on their lanterns. They kind of have to do a good job because A, despite the Lantern Parade being a company a campus-wide celebration, the College of Fine Arts has its own competition among its students on which section has the best lantern. And B, the lantern is part of their final grade. I walked around with a bunch of friends from my art organization and I ate a lot of street food. Because you guys know how much I love food. It was great. I especially like this pangolin lantern. Fun fact, these singers I think were geology majors and they call their band the School of Rock because, get it? Rock? Geology? They're geology students? They play every year on this stage behind the truck that moves along with the parade and I think they're really cute.
Oh my god. I don't know if I'm in focus, but...
Nope.
Good morning. I woke up to our neighbors playing a bunch of Christmas songs, and honestly, it made me feel rather upset because I'm supposed to be on my way home around now because it's already the 21st of December, but I feel like I'm not allowed to go home until I finish the video shoot so I'm able to edit over the holidays. Sometime within the creation of this monstrosity, my brain suddenly decided that it doesn't even matter how scuffed this ends up looking like, as long as it genuinely sort of, even just a tiny bit, looks like the Musou Isshin, then I'll be perfectly happy. Which basically is just my way of saying I give up on perfection. Then again, perfection is impossible. This is handmade. I am now going to coat this in a layer of elastic dip, which is this can of spray paint that I got last year because last year I had to make a mercy costume for my cosplay elective class. I only have a bit of black left. This is actually quite expensive, so I don't think I'll be buying a white one anytime soon. I think elastic dip is like the local equivalent of plastidip, and I've seen a lot of crafters on YouTube swear by plastidip when it comes to priming their foam for spray painting. I'm not quite sure if elastic dip even does anything, but I felt like it did a great job during my last project, so I'm still going to go for it. And yeah, I'm going to spray this all over my sword now and see how it looks. Then while it dries, I'm going to buy the right colors and maybe do a bit of studying. I'm so tired. I'm actually still quite sick, but don't worry, I've been taking my medicine and I haven't been with close contact with anyone, so I'm not spreading any viruses, Jessica. I'm fine, okay? Bye-bye. Alright.
On the noon of December 21, using the primer and paints that I totally already had on hand and did not go out to buy that morning because I was supposed to be saving money, I primed and painted this cursed sword. I gotta give it to myself. It's hella ugly, but it's also very, very sturdy. With everything coated in black, I gained some newfound confidence because all of the black primer essentially hid all of my mistakes.
I don't know if you can see that, but they said that if it's bubbling like that, it's working.
After the primer has dried, I spray painted everything in gray to make everything look as smooth as possible, and next comes my next mistake. I wanted to do the fancy gradient thing on Raiden's sword because I didn't know how to use resin. I didn't have a 3D printer, so I thought I could fake the glowing effect using paint. But I bought the wrong shades of purple and pink.
Ang cute ng kulay. Mukhang Barbie, no?
Those were my cousins who stopped by to look at my work. Despite the wrong spray paint colors though, using a bunch of plastic and a lot of masking tape, I soldiered on. And from the evening of December 21 to the wee hours of the morning on December 22, I alternated taping off parts of the sword while watching Taskmaster and going outside to spray paint bits and pieces of the sword. All because I didn't have an airbrush. Also, for some reason, I like having Taskmaster in the background when I'm crafting or painting. I wonder why. In between manually painting in the smaller parts that I couldn't reach with the spray paint, I had to blow my nose because I got a cold at some point. It was so messy. That week was so messy. I was very tired. I was very stressed. I was very sick. Only for the goddamn sword to look more like the mist splitter than the Musou Isshin, goddammit. Hana, why is there a clock on the sofa? Well, that's because I forgot to buy AA batteries. And I was sick and I was alone in the city, okay? I had no one to buy AA batteries for me or to change the batteries in my clock. And I put it on the sofa because I broke my mom's vase on the top of the shelf trying to get the stupid clock off the wall. It was an entire mess. And then the morning of December 22 came. Filming day. I got this green screen for cheap, so I decided to try it out.
This hurts.
And sorry for the paint on my legs. I just woke up and I hadn't showered yet. The green screen was too small, but I was running out of time, so I had to do what I could. I could probably have cheated my way, like put chairs under the tripods or something to make the green screen higher, but I thought the material was too small anyway and I needed to cover the floor too. And at the same time, because I was sick, I couldn't think straight, so there. Yeah, girl. I know. I had my cousin help me tape down the green material onto the floor because I couldn't bend down, and I was one minor inconvenience from fainting from my fever. Take a shot every time I say fever or sick in this video. Plus, my socks kept falling down and it was kinda annoying. This brand of cosplay is called 1/3 Illusion and it's very high quality and expensive. But I like to think that they call it 1/3 Illusion because every time you put it on, 1/3 of the costume just falls apart. After everything was in place, I just filmed. There's no other way to call it. I went home for the holidays the following day, and during Christmas break, I just edited my heart out on After Effects. And let me tell you, I am not a good actress by any means, and I am an amateur editor. Look at how scuffed that is. This was cringe. But I was free. And despite all of my mishaps, my mistakes, and the fact that I got really sick, I think I did a good job. I wasn't talking about the sword, I was talking about the short film. And my After Effects professor seemed to have agreed with me because I got a perfect grade in his class. Yay, I did it! And of course, because I worked so hard on this stupid sword, I made sure that I used it to its fullest. So I brought it to my graduation shoot last June. Here it was on the taxi I was on. Here was my informal graduation photo. And here were my creative shoots. I don't know what the norm is in other countries, but here in the Philippines, it's a custom for graduating students to hold creative shoots where they dress up and take fun photos of themselves. And I think it's a lot of fun. And of course, I wanted to be Raiden again because, like I said, I already have her costume and I wanted to flex that I have her C6. And as for this sword's last hurrah, HoYoFest 2024 was held in Mega Mall last August. Guess who I went as this year? And you're not gonna believe what I did. I repainted the sword. That's why it looks like this now. I was so unhappy with how pink I made this initially, so I put on Taskmaster on TV again and got back to work. I also doused everything in clear matte coat, which I think made it look less handmade, if that makes sense. Probably because it's less shiny now, so less light is reflecting off of my mistakes. I don't know. It kind of looks like a toy you would get from Divisoria for cheap, but would give you lead poisoning. Is that why I got sick? So yeah, my friend and I lined up for hours during HoYoFest, and I unfortunately was not able to get myself a statue of Her Excellency, the Almighty Nario Kamio Gosho, God of Thunder, inclusive of Her Excellency seat cushion. But I was able to get myself a pair because of a friend who lined up hours before me.
Wow, it's like in here. Kasing size ng kamay ko actually. Tapos nahulog ko kagad yung wala akong purse.
Wala talaga kung kailangan ng mataas na level dun sa
Tapos ano ko lang, itatapon ko lang. Parang si Fermin eh.
I went to the photo booth to get pictures of myself taken in cosplay because duh, I wasn't going to let that opportunity pass. Wait, I'm trying to fan it out like really attractively. I got these 4 Polaroids out of it, and honestly, just this one Polaroid over here, it made repainting the sword worth it. Is this the best Raiden Shogun sword in the world? No, far from it, in fact. But it is very sturdy, and I think if I yeet this from the 10th floor of some building, it would probably survive the fall. Let's try it right now. Usually in videos like this, there's some sort of like sense of victory towards the end. But there's none of that here. All I had were frustration, desperation, and EVA foam dust all over my studio. What did we learn today, kids? If the cosplay prop you want is available online, just buy it.